Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome out there that are watching our show today, our class. Sorry for the delay. Had some technical issues with the cursor. And so anyway, we'll go ahead and get started here in a few minutes or a few seconds here or whatever. So we'll just wait till some people get on since nobody's on yet. All right. All right, we're going to wait till some people get there, and then I'm going to get my coffee, but I can't get through the wires. I was telling Father Jonathan earlier, and I'm haven't made a final decision, but let y'all know. I don't know how long I'll live stream classes. It is really a technical pain sometimes, and I know how to do this. I mean, I used to build computers back in the day, so it's not that. It's just that one click or something, how anything goes wrong, then it's frustrating. And so, like, I'm all pumped up, ready to come do it, then I'm just frustrated. And I've seen that. I don't know why, but it actually, when I'm trying to teach, this takes away from me trying to teach it because I'm worried about, can people hear, can people see, what's it look like, and I'm just going to tell you it's a little bit not fun. And I want it to be fun. So if you're out there and you hear this, I really would love for you to come back like we did before COVID and come back to the class itself so that we can all be here together and teach. So anyway, that's my little rant this morning. Sorry.
Maybe you can switch to just recording it and posting the recording.
Yes, that is possible. Just you're right. Record it and then put it on for later on. Yes, I don't want to totally cut because if somebody's sick or somebody wants to see it, I'd like them to be able to see it. So yeah, it's not like a punishment or something like. But I have noticed, like in my Satan class, that it was trying to check on this, check on that. Where am I? Can they see? It's a lot when you just want to teach. And it's a huge, there's a lot of distractions to it. So, but I love doing it. That's the thing. So anyway, all right. So let's hope that this, hold on, I'm going to get back over here now. Come on. There we are. All right. Let's see if anybody else, we only have a couple today. Well, then we'll go ahead and get started. So today, for the next couple of weeks, what I wanted to do is I want to show you guys. I've been waiting to show you some sabbatical pictures that I had. I'm going to have to cut that music down for a minute. Hold on. Come on, sir. You got it? Thank you.
Actually, I left the door open, so that's probably why.
Yeah, please go over and see our veteran table. It's absolutely incredible. Beautiful job. See, we waited. Now we got 3. That's good. So anyway, I've been wanting to show you my sabbatical pictures. As you know, I went on sabbatical, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But one of the things, it's about rest, refresh, and refocus. And the Episcopal Church, just like the Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church, the Methodist Church, depending on the church, it's every 5 to 7 years in which they let a priest go for 3, and actually Methodist Church, it could be 6 months to a year. In between, what they do is since they go church to church about every 5 years, they move them. They'll do that in between, which is a great time to actually do it. So you're refreshed and go into the new church ready to go, which I think is a great idea. But except the transfer part, I don't like it. I'd be sad. But anyway, it is to refresh. It's a time for us to be, while we're gone, to be thinking about what the church is going to be doing in the future. It's to kind of relax. It's to give a little time to family, spouse, etc., to be together. It's also like the times that are outside the office times, all the times we're here, it's kind of like adding that up and putting it together and letting you have some overtime. That's what I was trying to think of, that overtime that obviously we don't get paid for, and that's okay. But it's kind of like, let's take some of that time and give back to you. So anyway, so I was fortunate. It's my first sabbatical that I've taken since I was ordained. And I really want to thank all of you for that opportunity. And I did. I will say that I was a little skeptical about, how much does it really help? I have to say it really does. When I came back, I'm just absolutely on fire and ready to get back to work and ready to get back, the future things that we're going to do. And that's why you've seen me talk about, COVID is starting to be in our past now. Let's be moving forward, because pulling out of it for a little bit, you could see that. And so it was really helpful to me. So sabbatical leave, again, it's, and here were my goals when I was leaving. One I left off, and I didn't need to, but rest, refresh, and refocus. One of my goals is family history. It's one of my passions. I love to do family history, and now go to some of the places that I've studied all those years, and actually stand there where it happened, or where they are, which was really cool. And I'll show you a couple of those. Also, on-site study of Anglican and Celtic history. I wanted to be there and learn about the places. Learning about the places that I'm at about Celtic history or Anglican history. And so there it was great to take some of the things that we learned in seminary and actually standing there and being with it. And wow, this is where it happened. And, and of course, I only know that I saw just a sliver of all the things that have happened in history. Also, seek religious destinations for future Holy Trinity trips. As you know, we go to Israel. I know some are like, well, I'd like to go, but I'm a little nervous about it right now and the situation that's going on there, which is understandable, but really it's rather safe, I'm going to tell you. But I also want to look at England, and all of those areas, Italy, etc., that if we wanted, because those trips are available too, and we could all go as a church and go and see some of these places. So I hope as you're seeing this isn't just, Uncle Ed here showing his slides from his trip. But this is also for you to get a sample of what you would be looking at. And hopefully you'll be like, I really would like to go learn more about Anglican history, or I'd like to learn more about Celtic history, or I'd love to go to Italy, and see some of these places. So anyway, that's what, what I was going to say is the other goal I had was gardening. I garden, and so I went and looked also at gardens that are in the area and getting ideas, even though I'm like, well, that wouldn't grow in Texas, that wouldn't grow in Texas, but it gives you an idea of some of the patterns, because I actually love doing English garden. I know there's French gardens, right, that are organized, and then there's English gardens that are organized chaos, right, is what I call it, where it looks wild, but yet it's not, it's done. So anyway, we went to, Karen and I went to England, Scotland, Ireland. We went to Switzerland for a layover, and the layover was about 8 hours. So we said, let's go into Switzerland and look around. And then we headed to Italy. So today I'm going to look at England and Scotland, and then next week will be Ireland and Italy, okay? First was England. The first place that we went, man, I wish this thing would work a little thing. We landed in London, obviously, but one of the first places we went down to was Dorset, here on the coast, actually right here, starting with Poole, because of family history. Cameron's like, let's get that out of the way for you. And so I was like, all right. So we went down to Dorset. We went and stayed in Poole, our hotel, and Poole is just absolutely beautiful. Never been, went out there and had a nice beer over here at this place, and just looking out at the harbor, just absolutely, because it's absolutely gorgeous. Poole Arms, it really is amazing the history, of these places. We think we have old places, and then you go and it's like, oh, okay, well that was done in 329 or whatever. Big difference. I was hoping Grace was going to be here today, because I actually took this picture for Grace, Grace's house. And so here's St. James Poole. This is one of the first churches we went to go visit, and take a look at it, and just fascinated by churches in England. And this is still part of the town of Poole, of all their little colors. And then we headed to Bear Regis Dorset, which is not that far. We got a taxi. We went out there. I was not going to rent a car. I decided I was going to, and then I decided after we talked to some people, and I'm really glad we didn't, because A, they were really expensive to get right now. And also you got to get the insurance, right? And then, and then there's a problem if you get into an accident. They got to make sure that insurance is correct and all before you're allowed to leave the country. And so it's a pain. So we said, you know what? After adding up all the costs, let's do it. So we went to a place called Bear Regis Dorset. You probably have heard Thomas Hardy. You know who I'm talking about, the author, right? This is where he's from, and this is where, like Tess of the D'Urbervilles, you heard. This is where that came from, and this is Saint John the Baptist Church. Absolutely just gorgeous. I went there because of genealogy. This is where D'Urbervilles were at. Before the end of this particular line, mine came 2 generations before to the United States. But I've studied about it and all of that, so it's great to actually see it in person. Here is one of the reasons I wanted to go take a picture. This is the D'Urberville coat of arms, the lion going down, and it's 15 generations of D'Urbervilles and the people that intermarried. So you have, like, up here is the D'Urberville, and then up here it's D'Urberville and the next family, as you can see. Now, I don't know, that kind of looked like 2 lions, so that's probably some inbred. Explains a lot, doesn't it? So anyway, and this is the tomb, the D'Urberville tomb, and it's 15 generations of D'Urbervilles that are underneath there. And it was really a lot of fun to see that. And then this is the church, just absolutely beautiful. And John the Baptist there, and the font, which was there, and on here they had like names of D'Urbervilles back in 1400s and all that were there. It was really cool. And this was our guide. He was absolutely great. I didn't tell him why we were going. He actually even asked. He said, "Got to ask you a question. Why are you just going to go see a church in Dorset? Like, you're here in England, and this is where you're going to go." And I said, "No, I love churches and blah, blah, blah." And I didn't say anything about being a priest yet. I didn't have this on. I took it with me. And then, and we went. And so we went in there. So he was standing kind of on the outside. He goes, well, anyway, he was kind of standing watching. And it was actually another tour guide had some people there, and it was from there. And Karen will flip her eyes and whatever. But he came in, and I thought he was the rector of the church. And so I went to ask him a couple questions, and he said, "No, I'm not the rector. I'm here with a tour guide." And he goes, "But what can I help you with? What are y'all doing here today?" And I said, "Well, I was trying to take a picture of this." He goes, "Why do you want to do that?" And I said, "Well, it's part of my family, the D'Urbervilles." And he goes, "Seriously?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "No, come on, really, seriously, are you really a D'Urberville?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want to see my driver's license?" And he just started crying. He was a great guy. And he stopped and tells his tour people, he goes, "Guys, I was telling you about the family before we got here. This is one of the D'Urbervilles." And so Karen tells the story. She goes, "I just flipped my eyes up." No, she didn't. She loved it. So I had to then confess and tell this guy why I was really there. And he got so excited. He goes, "My gosh, I've lived here my whole life." He goes, "I'm taking you some places. So you're on me." And so he was taking us around, which he was just fantastic. One of them was this parish. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. St. Mary's. And that's what I meant to. We went to Wellborn Minster. And I'm sorry, I thought for some reason I had the picture of it. Inside of it, and I hope I haven't messed up the inside, but what was really cool about it was actually a beautiful church. But also, Karen grabbed her attention real quick, was it has a chain library. And there's only just a couple of them left in the world. And a chain library is back when books obviously were so rare and so expensive that there were chains that were hooked to the book. And so as far as you could take it is you had to take it out, take the chain out, and there's a table, and you could then read from there. And so I forgot, maybe it's like 6 still in the world. So Karen knew about chain libraries, was so excited to see that. In Westminster, this is their clock. That's from the 14th century, which I thought was really cool. Look how beautiful that is. And yes, it still works. They had to redo some of the inner parts. And I said, "Oh, good. So you have it modern?" He goes, "Yeah, it's more modern, than just the clock." And I said, "When did y'all do that?" And he said, 1700s. So it is modern compared to the 14th century. And I love, like, they still have their, their buckets and all of this. And I think I took a picture of this. Hold on. Yes. I was absolutely, church, I'm loving this because we just built our bell tower. And we're having an issue, but they put the wrong rope, we realized, on it. And we need a real hemp type. But this is actually called a Sally. And you actually, it's thicker, so you get your hands around it and you can pull the bell. So I took a picture and I said, I have to get one. And so far, I've written the place that makes it, and they won't write me back. I was asking, do y'all ship to the United States? And they won't write me back. So I don't know. They're rude. So then from there, we did a little our history thing. We then went to Canterbury. I've always wanted to go to Canterbury and see it. And there's Canterbury Cathedral, obviously, which is absolutely gorgeous. Always wanted to go there. And it's just in awe of all of it. It's absolutely amazing to me. Got to see, why didn't that come out right? But it didn't here. But anyway, Elizabeth and Philip loved that carving. And that was supposed to be gone. And then I just don't understand what's happened here. I put the stuff in here and it didn't save. But this is the leaning house that's in Canterbury. It started to lean. It started having issues in the lower part, and they decided to fix it. And when they went to fix it, it ended up leaning even more. So now they decided, let's just keep it and support it. So it stays like that. And it was actually supposed to be an inspiration, I understand, for Charles Dickens.
Is it a pub or a bookstore?
No, it's a bookstore.
Look how he fixed the door.
Yeah. Isn't that hilarious? Love it. I'm sorry if this stuff didn't say that. I'm going to be really disappointed. Anyway, gardens, obviously, I wanted to take a look at. Just absolutely beautiful. This is where. I wish my notes are on my desk inside the office real quick. Hey, can you run and get this one? Yeah, thank you. It should be right there on the right side of it's supposed to be. Hold on. Make sure it's not. Yeah. So, memory. Cannot believe I did. See, I was working on this for 30 minutes. That's what I'm talking about, and then left the rest of my stuff out there. But this is, I'm trying to think, Saint.
Thomas Beckett.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thomas Beckett. Thank you, Zoe. Right underneath here is where Thomas Beckett was buried. This is St. Augustine's chair. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You see his chair up there, which was really cool. And outside the area. I love this. Does anybody know what this is? Have you seen it? It's a World War I soldier. And it was said that the soldiers would always try to remember to go and see Canterbury before they left, so that they would look wherever they were in the world in the angle of England to remember home. And so it shows him before he, looking at the Canterbury. Thank you so much. I can remember Thomas Beckett and all the other names I have on here. All right. Yeah, there's some more flowers.
That's your English garden.
That's my English garden.
Yeah.
Then there's St. Augustine Abbey. St. Augustine, real quick, Bobby, it was a monastery, and the abbey was founded in 598. and functioned as a monastery until 1538 during the English Reformation. It is in 1597 that Augustine arrived to England. He had been sent by the Pope to go and start this and to convert Anglo-Saxons. And so it's in ruins now, most of it, but so St. Augustine is there, and he's the first, to go and be the Archbishop, of the Canterbury area, and to teach the Anglo-Saxons. And here's some of the ruins of it. And this is what it looked like. It was like Canterbury Cathedral. It was huge, and it doesn't look like it today. See, I was trying to so I'm showing this because here that is today. Now it hasn't been, added like the Canterbury. Just love these pictures. This is St. Augustine's grave. And I'll tell about this. I'm really disappointed with my Thomas Beck, because I had pictures and I still don't know what happened. I had that downstairs where he was buried and all that, and I don't know why it's not on here. But anyway, St. Augustine was there. The reason St. Becket and him, their bodies are not there anymore, is because of the English Reformation. And this is a sad side of Henry VIII. Because they were considered relics and people were going, Catholics were going to these spots as pilgrims, he decided, let's just get rid of them. So he would tell monks they're going to go do it. Now, when I talked to the local, or the people that work there and stuff, they believe that they're still out there somewhere, because they don't believe that the monks would have actually destroyed them, like Henry VIII asked. For here, it was a beautiful story that they went to dig him up, and when they dug up St. Augustine and they opened his casket, that there was still the smell of incense and oil. It was beautiful, and it was like very sweet to all of them. I thought it was kind of cool, but nobody knows exactly where they are now because of that. Because his Henry VIII's orders were to dig them up, and if there's any bones, like pound them to a powder, and then get rid of them, get them off the land. Real nice guy, right? But look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? Now, you can see here, you see Canterbury up there, the cathedral way up there. They said at one time here they had bell towers that rivaled them. And apparently the monks on both sides would have competitions with their bells, and they would ring louder and louder and louder and louder on each side. So you can just imagine. So that's why I want to take this particular picture, because I just love how you can see it. It's not that far, and how they like to have fun. I, of course, such a dork. I took a piece from St. Augustine's grave. Don't know what I did with it. And so now we're going to head out of Scotland. And that had it on here, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know what happened to it. And so for all you Harry Potter fans, right? There you go. There we're at the train station at platform 9, and it was the longest line of people and getting their scarves. And so you put on their scarves, and then they have somebody that holds it, so it's out, so that you can be like running into the wall and get your picture with the. Yeah. So. So now we're leaving, and there's York. Went through York. Again, there it is. So I don't know why my pictures are messed up. That's interesting. So Scotland, we're finally in Scotland, and that was a lot of fun as well. One of the places I want to show, I thought I had this in a different mark, but Deacon Brodie's Tavern. Does anybody know who Deacon Brodie is? Okay, well, I didn't either until I went for dinner, of course. Deacon Brodie, he was a businessman, and he was loved. He was loved by everybody in town. Apparently the biggest gentleman you'd ever meet. But then apparently at night there were murders and stuff happening. And so they kept investigating. And so, see, this is Oh, come on. This is really irritating me now. I don't know what happened. Really, that's the oddest thing.
What city was that?
Edinburgh. But this is where Jekyll and Hyde came from, the story. And then the guy wrote it from there. And that too, Deacon Brodie really, that's where that was brought from.
So he was Jekyll and Hyde?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where, well, the inspiration for the guy who wrote it, this is who it was on, was this guy. Because at night they were trying to figure out these murders and, his weird behavior. But in the day, he was perfect. I mean, like everybody loved him. And and so everybody was shocked, it was him. Anyway, this is on the Royal Mile. And then Robert Burns, right? A lot of y'all are Robert Burns fans. And this is where he lived. This is his home. Not too shabby, It was, again, the architecture, so I just love. And here's his writing desk, which was really cool to see after we read his poems and stuff, just going, wow, this is where he did it. I mean, it's pretty cool. And now this is the palace. You've seen this before. Where have you seen this recently? At the funeral. This is where Queen Elizabeth was laid in Scotland, and it was apparently one of her favorite places. Closed when we got there. We couldn't go in. Closed for a royal visit. Thought it was a royal pain, but I told him. I said, yeah, it's right here. Royal visit. It's me, right? But he didn't believe me. Anyway, just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. This is Holyrood Palace, and from Margaret, all of them that lived here, and like I said, Elizabeth said it's one of her favorite places to be. She loved to be. So, Ginny Giddens, I had to take a picture of this. This is in St. Giles, and if this was in order, like I had it, and I still don't understand. Anyway. In St. Giles, that's where actually the Queen had her funeral. And I love this as I was walking by, because Jenny, remind me of our Jenny, which, no, I'm kidding, got very upset by the first book of Common Prayer being read. And so she took a chair and threw it at the priest when he was reading from it. She wasn't happy. Also, I love going down. It would take forever to do this, but I love all the, all the different pictures of people that are pieces where people are buried. Now, I love this. This particular, I had to take a look, and I hope I got a closer look, because God knows what I've done now. I don't know, but anyway, you see the middle flower? Okay, on the very top, and right to the left is a dark spot. Can y'all see that? Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, that's history. Let me see if it's on here. No, of course not. But here we go. This window, anyway, it was the first assassination, okay? And it's the first recorded assassination by a firearm in history. And you can see the smoke, and that's what that is. Right up there, that's what you can see the smoke up there. But it was the first assassination by a gun in a church, folks. Scottish don't play. Scottish don't play. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting. Archibald Campbell is just a little bit for family history. I don't know, he's not in my line, but just a Campbell in itself, and I thought it was pretty cool. So then on Holyrood, they have the big hills on the top, and it's really a lot higher than this looks. I wanted to go see St. Anthony's Chapel up here on this, and we did. And there it is today in ruins. And again, the Queen's castle, palace is right over here. And there's lots of pictures of her actually walking up here. It's one of her favorite things. She loved to get out and walk this. And so Karen and I had the bright idea of going to the top. I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Uh-huh.
So, but I did. I made it to the top. It was a lot of time. Karen did really well. She got up to almost the top of that area, but she wanted to stop. And I said, good luck to me. But I was determined. And then once I got up there, and the reason my face is like that is the wind was so hard. It doesn't look like it in this, but I mean, it's like, God, I hope I don't get thrown off this thing. I mean, it was like this. And I was trying to keep my hat on, but so I was like freaking out. I did this. I took this particular picture, and I was actually going to write a poem, but it's all these different paths, and I'm still going to write a poem on this of the different paths of life. And I stood here for quite a while, and this is when I was coming down, and just loved the different paths that were out here. And I just sat there for a little while and was thinking about that, the different paths that we take in our life, and the different paths that we have to choose, and where does it take us? So I was really inspired by that. Here is the it's a pub called End of the World, and it was built on their gates at the outside of Edinburgh because it was, for a lot of people, as they said, that's the only place they ever lived. And for them, it was the end of the world. And you would have to play, as it says, 40 shillings to go through the gate.
How much is 40 shillings?
Back then, don't know. Yeah, no.
Wow.
For you.
Oh, 40 shillings would be, I don't know. Would you know now? I know 40 pounds, but I don't know what 40 shillings would be. 50 cents? Yeah, 50 cents or so. Then we went to John Knox's house. There it is. As you know, John Knox was considered probably one of the best preachers. He really caught everybody's attention. And he was thrown out by the Queen Mary. She didn't like him, and so he was exiled twice from the country. And then when he come back, he would start it all over again for reform. Oh, here we go. See, it threw it down here. So sorry, guys. So Deacon Brodie was inspired to Robert Louis Stevenson's book, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So here we go. Don't know why it didn't stick. And here he is. So that was in the restaurant, which was really cool. Then we went here to this abbey in Ave. It was absolutely beautiful, and it was really you see the ruins. Isn't that gorgeous? Just absolutely gorgeous. And up here, so I think if I did it right, of course not. Up there, I have you'll see King. Do you see that? Okay, it's kind of built into the top, and on this side it says Bruce King, and there he is, Robert the Bruce, and this is his grave inside at the. It's underneath actually the. God, I'm so sorry. I'm having issues. The podium and all that. So anyway, it was really cool. And there's a skull. They recreated it. So if you want to know what Robert Bruce looked like after he died,
Yeah.
there he is.
Pick him up on
And I was laughing. It has JR underneath it, John.
At least he looks like he's.
And then outside of it is also St. Margaret's Shrine, which I want to say another saint. And so St. Margaret's Shrine, and there it is. And then, oh, there we go, Bruce, you see, Bruce King. And so that's where he is. He's buried there. Pulpit, that's what I meant to say. And that's the, at that, when we were there, that would have been the Queen's seat when she comes to visit. There's Karen, and she's on one of the stones, and it says that one of these stones was on St. Margaret's tomb. It was part of St. Margaret's tomb. Now this is Roslyn Chapel. Roslyn Chapel, you may know from some great movies, Da Vinci Code. How many of y'all have seen the Da Vinci Code? All right.
Look at that.
Yes, the book is much better. Da Vinci Code, it was built by the Sinclairs, and it is said that this is where the Masons started and their work. And so in that, and also the, anyway, in the Da Vinci Code, if you remember, the Templars were also involved, and you've heard about the Templars. And when the Templars were being killed, it said that this is where they came for refuge. And so that also National Treasure, if you saw that, National Treasure showed, remember the temple, and then they took the treasure over, and this is where they stored it first, and then they went over from Henry Sinclair. And so this was part of my family part also, to go see Rosslyn Chapel, because it's absolutely gorgeous. My mom, his grandmother was a Sinclair, and so I belong to what's called, it's not a big deal, it's a Sinclair Society, in which you do family genealogy and stuff together. So I wanted to go see it because of all the Mason work and stuff. This is William Sinclair. I was very fortunate because the lady who hosted, or the person who's running it, is strict. No pictures are allowed inside. And so I went up and I talked to her and told her my mom was Sinclair, and I'm in the Sinclair side. And she goes, okay, I'm very familiar with that. And it was funny. It was kind of one of those things that you see in the movies. She asked me 3 questions, and I answered them. And she said, okay, then, you're allowed to take pictures, or a couple of pictures. So I was able to take a picture of William Sinclair, and he's on the back. This is a Knight Templar, and it's a horse, and he's on the back with the true cross. It says that he brought a piece of the true cross back to Rosslyn Chapel. Or outside of it, just look at that work. It's just absolutely amazing. And this is, look at this from the coast. And that's it. So, and again, I'm very disappointed because I actually added a couple more pictures inside Rosslyn, and they're not on there. I don't know why it didn't save when I put them in there. I did later. I was adding stuff in for y'all, and it's supposed to automatically save, but it must not have. But I want to show you the pillar. I don't know if you ever heard of the pillar. I'll try to show you, but it's so carved and beautiful. And it was a great story. Great and sad, but it's an apprentice was there, and his master went, I believe, to Spain, and was gone for quite a while. And so his apprentice decided to carve this beautiful pillar, and it's absolutely incredible. And apparently, when the master came back and saw it, he was so outraged by what this kid did. He took his hammer and he hit him in the head and killed him. And so they ended up taking the master out, and they tried him and they hung him. And for revenge, the Masons carved this man's face up in the wall where it has to look at the pillar for eternity. So, and they don't play around. So, and I had that on here, and I apologize. So anyway, so next week is perfect timing. We'll be heading to Ireland, and that's what this will be, Ireland, and we're going to go to Italy. And so I hope you'll come. I hope you weren't too bored by this, but Italy's going to be a lot of fun because, thank you. Italy will be fun because it's got a lot of history, the history, and seeing, Peter and Paul and all of that. So, all right. So thank you all very much for your time.